What is happening, everyone? This is Gate 7 International. I'm your host, Adi. I'm joined by none other than Kosa Leboyanis. It is not a good day today. A lot of really, really difficult questions that need to be asked. It's a lot of unfortunate realities, and we'll get into it. Kosa, how you doing? Aside from the obvious.
I'm healthy. I'm good. Decent weekend, but it all came kind of crashing down with the derby, which we'll get into. Lots to talk about, my friends. Lots to talk about, and
You're
here we
right.
are.
You're right.
Misery loves company. Misery loves company. So
It does.
I'm gonna get my glass as well, and I'm gonna get my whiskey. I'm gonna pour my whiskey, and I advise everyone that's watching as well to, go and get yourself a beer, and we're going to talk about things. We're going to talk about today's game. We're going to talk about things more generally as well. If you are drinking, drink responsibly, and if you're underage, then go somewhere else.
I'm not even drinking alcohol, but I should be. This is one of the worst things I've ever tasted in my entire life.
French
This is
vanilla.
French vanilla carbonated coffee. It is
You should.
disgusting. It is so bad they're selling it for 29 cents in this economy. That is how bad it is. But this still tastes better than what we watched today, and we'll get into that.
Well,
So
I know it's what, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock over there, but maybe if you want, do please feel free to put aside your French vanilla bullshit and go and get yourself a drink and come back.
Maybe I'll do that while you're going ahead and talking it at some point. But listen, everyone, before we get started with more banter, because it's the only thing that makes us feel good these days, don't forget to like and subscribe. The channel is continuing to grow more and more. We're getting close to hitting 4,000. We're over the halfway mark from 3,000 to 4,000. Moving to 4,000 subscribers on YouTube. The social media channels, of course, are growing. Facebook is taking off again. Twitter's growing again. And same thing with Instagram. We're almost at 7,000 on Instagram. So the community is growing. Our reach every month on every platform is almost doubling. I mean, we get near 1 million impressions on Instagram, on Twitter. I don't know how to look that up for Facebook, but it's crazy the reach that we're getting, and it's all because of you guys. So the little things help so much. Little engagement, just liking, even a comment if you can do it, subscribing if you like what you see. The little things help so much, help us find more red and white fans. And please check in. We love to see the new faces that pop up. There's new ones every show. We have the usuals here already, our patrons and those that have been following us for so long. So thank you. If you would like to be part of the Patreon community, you can do so. Just visit us at patreon.com/gate7international. You can get free new episodes, extra episodes every month. We just did a great interview with Idan, the agent of Doran Leidner, and he gave us some really interesting insights about what it's like to be a sport agent, and as well about finding players, like how he found Doran and how they chose Olympiacos. So you can get extra content there, early access to the scouting reports, and the WhatsApp chat just gets pretty nuts now. I mean, it's taken on a life of its own. So if you want to join the mayhem, the banter, join us there and support us. Thank you so much, Alidimi, for the comment. Nice job, guys. Hope you continue growing at a great pace. We plan on it. Yorgos Murzanos. Oh, by the way, does anyone know when Doran Leidner will heal his injury, and when does his contract expire? Well, in the interview and in messages we've had with his agent, Idan, he told us that they are just waiting for the doctor to pass, and he will be training with the first team again. Any day now. He's looking really good, he said, and his contract is up not this summer, but the following summer. So we'll see what goes on there. But he's a very exciting prospect for us. Now, getting into the match today, Panathinaikos, Olympiacos. This was an opportunity. It was a huge opportunity for us for many reasons. One, if we had beaten Panathinaikos today, it wouldn't have helped us with the distance to the top of the table, but we would have overtaken Panathinaikos in third place. It would have given us great momentum. We play Offi next, and then the following week we play PAOK. We would have set ourselves up to at least have an opportunity to go within -3 if we had done it right, because everyone else has been taking points off of each other. I plays PAOK, I believe, the following week after we played PAOK. So it was a great opportunity here. But it required some type of ingenuity. A coach that maybe took a risk here and there, because at this point, if you're in fourth place, Aris is about to be in the final of the cup. They're going to beat Panathinaikos unless a miracle happens, and they don't. And they have an opportunity to take the fourth spot that goes into Europe next year. Remember, we have 4 spots because last year we didn't do so well. Only Olympiacos was in European competition in the group stage, and we sucked. So it's very bad for the coefficient. The following year, after next season, we probably will have 5 spots again. But this coming season, we're going to have 4, which means if Olympiacos come in 4th place and Aris wins the Greek Cup, we do not have Europe. Aris does. And we go a whole season without European competition. So this match, this derby, was really important. It was really important to try and get something out of this. And in the end, what happened? We see a starting lineup, and the starting lineup, maybe it wasn't a big surprise, but we saw Chiquinho in the midfield with Heze and Alexandropoulos. That was a little bit more of a surprise to me. And in left wing, we see Omar Richards with Ortega as left back. And then with Masuras, and the striker was Fred Navarro. So we're all sitting here looking at this and thinking, okay, clearly this is going to be a defense-first approach. We are going to be defending, looking for counters against Panathinaikos. Tarim plays offense, possess. And we just want to make sure we don't give any opportunities to them to break into the final third and to break into the penalty area. No Ioannidis. You'd think our job was a little bit easier. Unfortunately, first 10 minutes, I don't even think we put 10 passes together. By the time we got to the 20th minute in the first half, we started to see we were possessing more, doing more with the ball. Then, of course, as we're finally starting to work our way into the game, and by the way, when I say work our way into the game, we were still being dominated more possession-wise, but we were finally starting to get things moving. They get their first goal off of a cross. And it just didn't really feel like, for me at least, that things were ever going to go our way. The second half comes along, and we make 3 substitutions. Kostas Fortounis comes on, no surprise. But then we sub off both of our left backs, basically. Omar Richards, that's playing left wing, and then Ortega left back. It didn't make sense. Now, I don't want to talk about the second half, the whole game, Costa, without getting your opinion on the starting lineup in the first half. Did the starting lineup make sense to you? And if it did, based on what we saw in the first half, did the subs make sense to you?
I think it wasn't the starting lineup I was expecting, but at the same time, I wasn't surprised to see the lineup that we saw. I think when we saw Omar Richards out on the left wing, you think to yourself, okay, last time we played at Leoforos in the cup in the first leg, that experiment didn't fare too badly. Just in a sense that, like, we had legs. Like, there were players, like all the players that were in the team today, I'd say they had legs. Like they can run, they can press. I think there were moments in the first half where we did a pretty decent job of, pressing them quite high up, forcing them into mistakes where they, kick the ball out into touch and we regain possession and try to do something. It's, the problem is when we had the ball, what we did with it, in terms of our ability and ingenuity, the word that you mentioned earlier, there was very little. I think, you were expecting everything from Yorgos Masuras in the first half. And he helped create a few openings. There was the pass into Navarro, I think in the first 15, 20 minutes, it was a brilliant pass in behind the back line. And, maybe Navarro should have taken it first time and just shot it, at least hit the target. And the thing about the first half is you can't say that we didn't have a few chances. Yeah, I count 2 for Navarro. Was it the bicycle kick from Alexandropoulos and another overhead kick? Okay. The thing is,
But were
and this
any
is
of those like really dangerous opportunities, like be
no,
honest with me? Do you think any of those chances we had? Because Panathinaikos had, for me, at least 2 very clear opportunities. But the ones that we had, I mean, the one that Navarro messed up and should have shot sooner on, that for me would have been our clearest opportunity. Period.
the
I
thing
didn't.
is though,
I was like, oh, this
it's
is a clear scoring chance. I'm sorry.
it's because the thing is like the team's dropped its level so much that like my expectation as well has dropped so much in terms of what I actually expect to see on the screen. So the thing is, and you talked about the manager and the decisions. A good manager backs up his decisions and his convictions. What does he go and do in the second half? He goes and takes off Richards and Ortega, and you're like, okay, that didn't work out well for you, did it? And then you make it worse by taking off one of the only players with like a clear sense of passion and determination, and like, you know, he's in the game, he's getting in the opponent's faces. I think he could have had a yellow card in the first half. Alexandropoulos, he got away with it, but I don't understand like why every time Alexandropoulos is taken off, not just today, in previous games, he says, oh, he's got a little knock, he didn't feel right, we took him off. So I don't like that, and then just the subs that he made, he just kind of he shot himself in the foot. So I just showed everyone that I fucked up. It was a wrong decision. I don't know, man. I'm arriving at I'm arriving at a conclusion already, which is, you know, just I can't wait for this season to be over, which is very similar to the feeling that we had last season, but worse. Is worse this season. It's February and I'm done. Like, it's February and I'm done. I'm not expecting anything from this team at this point. I don't care if we qualify for Europe or not. I really don't. Like, there was a message earlier in the chat. I can't remember from who it was. I need to find it. But basically, Yorgos Mourzanos says, I watched your reaction to the Haifa 4-0 and have things really changed from then. I feel like the same things you were saying then, we're still saying now. And it's true. Like, this is still a team that's searching for an identity. Chopping and changing managers. Like, you know that this guy is on a you know, the clock's ticking. The clock's ticking for Carvajal.
Oh yeah.
How could you said it at the beginning? This was really perhaps the last chance to try and turn things around. And I know that we've just brought in 8 players. We've just brought in 8 players. They all have to gel into a team that's not gelled. Like, you really just have to ask yourself, what the hell are they drinking over there sometimes, and how are they thinking they're going to fix this? Because whether we like it or not, the other teams, the other clubs, they have set teams, like PAOK and AEK in particular. But I think this is a shit show, man. I'm embarrassed. Like, I'm humiliated that we lost to them today in the way that we lost. Like, they created 2-3 chances and they scored 2 goals.
Yeah, that's
Bam,
it.
bada bing, bada boom. Like, easy peasy, lemon squeezy for them today. Like, we lost to this team without Ioannidis, with Fatih Terim as their coach. Like, a coach that is from another, like, he's a dinosaur, man. He's from another era. And like, what does that say about our coach? What does that say about us? They beat us with like half a centre back.
Yep.
With half a centre back, and you know, no striker
This
up front.
team, by the way, which over 2 legs in the Kipolo, was nothing. They were garbage. And then look what they did to us today. We let this garbage team beat us 2-0. It's disgusting. I don't care if it's a derby. This is one of the worst Panathinaikos teams I've seen. They were better with Jovanovic, period. They're here with a coach that all he wants to do is possess forward, can't create a lot of meaningful opportunities. And we are still that bad We are still that bad that we lost to this team. It's what do you?
We haven't seen proper football in the last 3 years. Look at my
No, since that last season of Martin's, and we won the league because the other teams were still garbage. I mean, look, and you have to give it to Martins, right? Like, he was very efficient. We did a lot with set pieces. Like, he at least understood that. If we're not going to play good football, we're going to convert on set pieces. And we did. And we also converted off counters as well. What do we have now? What do we have now? I mean, there's so many problems here, but part of it, I think, feels worse under Carvajal too, because under Diego Martinez, offensively, things were moving. We can say that in the league. Offensively, things moved. But defensively is where the problems were. We were letting cheap goals in constantly. And you now have a coach, right? And the purpose of bringing Carvajal was that he was supposed to make it the defense. He was supposed to shore things up defense, right? But we sacrificed offensively. Now, Costa, I have some stats for you comparing what Carvajal has done since his arrival and what Martins did before he left. Do you want to hear them, or am I going to depress you?
Go.
So we're just a couple of quick stats. So Carvajal versus Martinez, this is on a per 90-minute basis, just in Greece. I'm not factoring in Europe. I'm just factoring what they've done in Greece, in all competitions within Greece. Carvajal, after today, is averaging less than a goal per match. 0.98 goals per match per 90 minutes after today. Diego Martinez was averaging 2.8. 2.8 goals per match in Greece. Diego Martinez. XG, Carvajal is at 1.28 per match. Martinez was 2.01. Shots, Carvajal is averaging 10.8, under 11. Martinez was over 17 shots per match. Similar shot accuracy. Now, Carvajal was brought in to shore us up defensively. Sure, we were going to lose offensive prowess, but he was supposed to shore us up defensively. We are averaging almost a goal a game. We're averaging 0.89 goals a game. Do you know what our goals per game average was with Diego Martinez? 0.6, Costa. XG against under Diego Martinez was 0.75, and our XGA under Carvajal is 0.97, almost 1. We have regressed in every underlying statistic under Carvajal. So that tells me, one, we shouldn't have gotten rid of Martinez, as upset as we were with various things, right? Because we did get embarrassed in Europe. We did get embarrassed by PAOK. I understand that. But everyone that kept saying, he's Martinez out, Martinez out. What have we said since day one? We have said that it can always get worse at this club. It can always get worse. And it has. It has gotten worse. We have signings that came in that we really haven't seen yet, right? A bunch of them. A couple of them I do not rate at all. But I'm sorry. I do not see how this gets turned around. We are in a worse situation now than we were with Diego Martinez. I was against firing Diego Martinez. I wanted to wait. I wanted to go until the end of the season with him. If it failed, it failed. I wanted to give him the winter window. That's it. Because I knew it could get worse. I have known, because that's all this club has been consistent about. This club has been consistent about one thing, and that's that it can always get worse. We have watched that happen for 2.5 years now. It can always get worse. The second you think it can't, it can. That's it. And it is worse now. I don't think these signings fix anything. I don't. I think half of them were a waste. There were some really good, there are some good players that we brought in, but I don't think it gets any better. I think we should have stuck with the project. If it didn't work, it didn't work. That's it. I don't see it getting any better than here. The focus for me, we have a poll up, by the way. If you haven't voted, vote now about whether you think the season is over or not. But I'm do what you can in the Conference League, but we're looking to next season. This team with this mentality, there's no way we're doing anything in the playoffs. We cannot do anything with the same assets that Martinez had and get better results. Carvajal is 5 wins, 3 draws, 3 losses. 5 wins, 3 draws, 3 losses. What has he done in a derby? Nothing. Yeah. So we got upset with Martinez for the same thing. That's it. That's it. It is what it is.
Right on cue. Do we have somebody in the waiting room?
I didn't see one yet.
No? Okay, well, people are asking for Labro. Labro just told me he's here, but I don't see him. But Labro's going to be with us. Labro's going to be with us shortly, man. Don't worry. Mate, for me, the season's over. Like I said it. If they're not already talking to or looking for the next manager, I don't know what the hell they're doing. That's the only thing they should be doing. And I remember the last time we were in a similar situation was the beginning of the 2010 season, I want to say, where we bought Valverde back the second time.
Right.
And we were out of Europe and they bought Valverde in. The thing is, man, that was 14 years ago. I feel old saying that. That was 14 years ago. And while we weren't in Europe that season, I still think Olympiacos was an attractive place to go.
Right.
I'm really not sure anymore.
Nope.
And I'm putting it mildly. And that's why I think we have this coach now, Carvajal. Because who in their right mind takes this job? Considering all what happened last summer, we went and started this rebuild in the summer. The previous manager talked a lot about building a bridge. I agree with a lot of the comments. Like, we lost 4, we ate 4 against Balk at home. We ate 5. It was embarrassing. But clearly, like, there were mistakes were made in the summer. But you've got to have the balls to stick with it. There are things that we don't know, like what happened with Gordon, etc. We can speculate so many things, but is this better than what we had before? Rewind and listen to what the stats Ari just mentioned. No, it's not. It's gotten worse, and supposedly we have brought in quality. Some questions asking what we thought of Carmo. So I think Carmo's a proper centre-back.
He is.
He's a proper centre-back. You can see that. Even in a shit team like we are, you can see that the guy is a proper centre-back. Is he gonna help us achieve our objectives? I'm not expecting him to.
No.
Because this is more than individuals. There's no, you look at this team and you think, what are we going to do? We're going to pass the ball down the right. Rodinei, at best, what is this team going to do creatively going forward? You're going to give the ball to Rodinei. Rodinei's going to dribble past 2-3 players. There'll be a little, maybe an overlap, or Rodinei gets into the box. There's a cut back into the box. That's it. It's just play down the wing to Rodinei and wait for an overlap. Maybe a counter attack that we don't fuck up, like 1 out of 10. That's it. I don't know what this team is. There's no identity. There's no style of play. There's nothing. And it's wrong to expect any of that, because we just sacked a manager that we brought in for a rebuild that was showing something offensively at least, and we chose to bring in a new manager that's completely different. And what? We're expecting the team to play football, like proper football? No. Αυτό είναι το παράλογο. It's like
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you at all. There was a question earlier by I think it was Aris Galamatis. I just put it up here about whether I thought Martinez was better than Martin, or if I was insinuating that I thought he was better than Corberan, or and no, that's not what I was trying to say at all. Actually, I can't even compare them. I really liked Corberan personally. I thought he was a brilliant tactician. But for me, like the situation with him was like right coach, wrong time. And the situation with Martinez has nothing to do with that. The situation here is Martinez, while we were unhappy with how things went in Europe, while we were unhappy, of course, with that Bauk loss, in the end, if the fan doesn't throw the firework, the idiot that threw the firework, we're in first place. Remember that. Remember that.
I said that 3 or 4 shows ago. I think the last time I was on with Costa, like for me, that was really the turning point in the season. We'll never know. We'll never know.
Yeah, and the whole the situation, it just like this club compounds its mistakes by doubling down on the worst part about it. And that's the worst. That's what's happening. That's what's continued to happen. Now, just because I believe Carvajal is a terrible tactician, I don't think he's a great coach. I think he's mediocre. I also have to say, like, look, this isn't he inherited this problem and he hasn't gotten to integrate his signings yet, right? So we don't really know what the signings will do yet, right? We have to see them integrated first. But what we do know is that Carvajal cannot do better with the same assets Martinez had. We know that plain and clear. So then the decision then has to be, do we get rid of the coach that we just brought in the assets for, right? If things are so bad to what we're saying, we want to get rid of the coach again. Are we going to get rid of him? And because after we just brought all these guys in for him to play what he wants, because he believes he could do better with what he had to come in, or do we get rid of him and bring in Ibagaza and play other people? And what message does that send, Costa? Then you then get rid of another coach after you just brought all of these players for him? We literally we can't stop digging the hole deeper. And every time we dig it just gets worse and worse. And it makes us look even shittier.
At this stage, I wouldn't be surprised if, look, let's be honest. Next week against Offi, we might win that game. Offi are like second to bottom or something. So let's say we win the Offi game. Yeah, we win the Offi game, or like we don't lose. Then we're going to play Ferencváros at home and away. I'm not gonna say what's on my mind. Not good. No. And then we're probably like, I can't see this guy getting results this month, and I can't see him surviving. And it just makes me think, like, if you're not going to support the Martinez project, you know that like it's over. And instead of starting from square one again, I don't understand why they didn't just go back to an ego. And I might sound like a caricature right now, but that's the only solution for me. It's the only solution. You bring in an ego, you ask him to caretake the team until the end of the season, and you fucking work your ass off to bring in not a tactician, not a young coach, a coach that will demand authority in the dressing room.
Yeah. No,
you're
right.
You need a high profile coach that will tell the owner no.
Yeah. He's got to have balls.
You need a coach.
And the players too. And it goes for the players too. Like one that's going to say, no, I don't give a shit who you are. I don't care. Not that I'm saying Costas Fortunis is a problem in the locker room. Like, no, you're not happening. No, get effed. You're right. You're right, Costa. At this, that's probably the only thing that's going to work. I mean, the people that didn't want Gattuso here, maybe in the end he was probably the best thing we needed, but
maybe.
Chased out before he can get here. The situation just gets worse and worse and worse. Also, excuse my French, Costa, because like I have to let this out too. Fuck off, everybody that got upset with all the shit that we were saying. Nelson Abbey, when we said he was going to the B team, and the stuff I said about players that people didn't like, and the scouting reports about the injury. Everything we have said has fucking come to fruition. I spend hours reviewing this stuff. I spend a lot of time. We spend a lot of time. We talk to a lot of people. We don't just make this shit up out of nowhere. And most of it has come to fruition. So I would just like to kindly tell certain individuals, fuck off. Because everything we have said in many respects has come to pass. And we don't, this isn't like you or me, Costa, or even Lambro, because we don't like to be negative about the club, right? We want this club to succeed. We want to do well. We don't like it. But we are here just simply to say what is happening. Now, we all have our own opinions, but we critique things because we love the club and we all want things to be better, and we're here to have a discussion. But
the bat signal went up.
To say that.
I'm here, Adi. Don't worry. I heard my name. The bat signal went up. I'm here, everyone. Don't worry. Goddamn. And don't worry, I'm ready to not have any opinion on this, but continue on with your situation.
I'm going to tell you, Lam. Here's what's happening. No, we're yeah. Anyway, it's
the worst is the propagandist, goddammit. The worst is when you have to eat it, you know, when times are not good, but like not tonight, you know, and when they're just like, well, Gate 7 International, you dumbasses, why don't you just listen to us and trust the plan? And then it's nights like this where we hop on here and we say, well, how's the plan going? How's the plan going? It's not great. Plan's not going great, is it? But...
What can you do?
I'm going to come out and just say I didn't watch the game tonight. Like this team gives me too much depression and upset anger. So I've been avoiding the situations. But I came on tonight just to vent with you guys, be like more of an avenue where you guys can share your opinions and I can talk back. I literally did not want to watch the game tonight. I just did not want to watch it at all. So yeah, I saw the lineup that came out and I was just like, whew. I saw Panathinaikos' lineup too. And I was like, whew. Yeah, I'm gonna sit this one out. You know what I mean?
I wish I didn't watch it at this point. Like it was just frustrating. It was just frustrating. Adis, trust me, buddy, you're not the one I was talking about, or you're not part of the individuals. There were certain critiques I had about not only players that just recently signed, but of stuff that has of things that have gone on that we've talked about on socials. And a lot of individuals have said to me that I'm off base, I have an agenda, blah, blah, blah. So, but you're not one of those people. Don't worry.
I have a few.
Most of the people that are here also are not
So I have a few questions though for you guys, for the fans, since I didn't watch the game. How did Chiquinho look?
He looked all right, man.
What was the opinion?
I feel like the players that we've brought in individually, like Chiquinho, Orta, and Karma, are actually good players. Like they've played in the Champions League this season, for fuck's sake. Like they're not bad players. You just can't throw those individuals into a team and expect them to gel into something that hasn't gelled itself. Yeah. That's to me like one of the biggest problems. And it infuriates me as well, the whole like we need to make the team more Greek and we want Greek spoken in the locker room. And it's like, mate, people in the UK are taking, and in Portugal are taking the piss out of us, and they're like, you guys are the new Wolves. So like we had 5 Greeks in our lineup, by the way. Fair. But we all know they're out of contract, except for Doi. Like there's a comment here. Like, buy Alexandropoulos, renew Masouras, make him captain. Did you ask them if they want to stay? Like, because I'm sure Alexandropoulos will have offers. Masouras has offers. It's been reported. Might get more. Who wants to stay? And what's making them stay at this point? Is our board trustworthy? like to tell those players that it's going to be different. I have a hard time believing it. And believe me, those guys, they live and breathe inside that environment every single day of their lives as professionals. If I feel bad, or if like you like us, if we feel bad about the environment, can you imagine them actually being in that every day? And the club telling them, we want you to renew, we want you to have faith. And at every turn, they've just shown that the last 2 seasons, like ever since we sacked Martins, okay, we can trace back problems to Martins' last season before Maccabi, but let's not go that far. Pep Biel, there was a comment about Biel earlier. Like you saw him, he looks like a new man. Yeah. He's gone to Germany, to Augsburg, and just like you see some pictures of him he puts up on Instagram, or the stuff that he reposts. He looks rejuvenated, like a few hours after leaving.
Pep Biel, some guy made the joke. If you guys remember my what was it? My comparison of Olympiacos to a school. Pep Biel transferred schools, and he's so happy. They told him Carvajal is the new teacher, but I think some of this, and I don't know, maybe it's the field I work, but it's such a PR nightmare. Like they're so shit at PR, they're so shit at comms that they cannot, they have Kuya saying bullshit, they have their stupid reporters saying this shit, but there's no concerted plan, there's no organization. Like no one has presented or explained a plan of where this is going, other than 8 to 10 signings in the winter and 20 to 30 signings in the summer. Like, I think PR and communications is really important, and they just have fucked it and have let down the fans over and over again by setting these shitty expectations, saying these horrible, just like saying random stuff. I think like Kuyas, when you hear him speak, like he's throwing pasta at the wall. It's like, what's going to stick? He's like, the Greek base, Antonio Cordon's shit. Like he's just throwing bread out to people. Just like, what are the masses going to love to hear? He's like, what can we say? Do you remember how shit this guy was at Larissa? He's like the shittiest owner of all time. Like, are you kidding me? And
we used to make fun of him. Like it was hilarious because you couldn't wait to hear what nonsense he'd said.
I am begging Marinakis, like, fucking go to a PR firm in London, give them €1 million and tell them, do the PR in Greece, do it in Forest, and help me, because he sucks at PR. Like Kuyas going on TV saying bullshit. Like, man,
do you know how many people
are just tired, man? No one is buying into this bullshit. Like no one believes anything they say.
Can I ask you, on that, do you actually think that we're a majority? Like, no. People like you, me, Ari, the guys that watch this show. No. So, like, I dared to make a snarky comment about the what was it? The Kuyas press conference. When was that? A couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And
people attack you. You make a joke about it. People are like, he's defending us. Like,
it's like the amount of trolls that attacked me. It's like, but that's what speaks to them. Like, they're the majority. It speaks to them. Like, it resonates. And have you really seen any reaction after today's game? Like, no. The Gate 7 were quick to throw Mitchell under the bus and go come to him with evil or whatever it was.
Whatever their Google Translate was.
Yeah, but this is a hard one to get out of, boys, because they've brought in a new technical director who's Portuguese, who's brought in this coach. So what are they going to do? They're going to say, "Oh, fuck this! We're going to get rid of Carvajal," and then the sporting director is just going to take it. And don't get me wrong, I agree with a lot of the comments I'm seeing as well about academy, and I've been ranting on about this a lot on social media as well. Why are we so fucking afraid to play Costulas? None of the forwards that we have are going to be here next season.
Yep.
None of them. And we're like, if you know, Nikos Kotsis wrote a piece today about Kostulas.
A little puff piece.
It appears that like he's close to the first team. Should just take him on the bench one game. What, he can't play against Offie next week? Like, he's playing against.
At this point, let him train. You have 30 other players that are still training. What's
but that's ridiculous as well. Like somebody told us like recently, somebody that works in football, he said to us like, what is this at Olympiacos? Yeah. You have 34 players. That's more than 3 teams.
It's like
that's
not a serious club.
More than 3 starting 11s. How do you train? When you do when you play a match in training, at most it's 11 on 11. What do the other 11 do?
But the crazy thing is, and then you look at the contract and loan situation, but there's only going to be like 13 dudes here by July 1st. So there's like 35 guys here.
But that's it. It's going to be summer again, and we're going to be looking for 20 players. And, you know, the journalists are going to be coming out on the radio. It's like, Olympiacos is going to sign 10 players and maybe 15, maybe 20. And you're just going to, like, I can't go through that again, man. I can't go through that summer
You can't go through it. I have to stay up till midnight every fucking night doing the scouting reports for them. I'm sick of it. And half of them are mediocre, so it's not even fun. Yeah. That's but you know what it is, Costa, and like a lot of this kind of has to do with a couple of things. With the comms part, right? A lot of it has to do with one, it's we are so afraid, and by we I'm talking about administratively wise for Olympiacos, so afraid, one, to accept blame. That's first and foremost.
They don't want to lose their job, man. Like, people don't make a lot of money.
Right, exactly. And two, we're afraid to take that one step forward, accept responsibility, and then go, guys, we messed up. We need to build something. The season's shit. We're sorry. We have to build something new. We're going to do what we can, but we're focusing on next season. Nobody is willing to do that because heaven forbid we not tell you there's a chance. We'd rather just say, oh, the goal is to win Europa League. Garebe, whatever he does. That's what they. So we're afraid to take responsibility. We never want to. We're never ready to admit that that something is out of reach for us. Never. And then at the same time, we're not willing to take a chance administratively on pushing certain things like youth, like Kostulas or whatever, because then if it fails, it's also, it looks bad on us as well. In the end, there's a lot of pride here and an unwillingness to accept where the mistakes are being made. Costa, is it any coincidence to you that when certain technocrats, aka Lina Suluku, left, things went to shit really quick? Not just her.
The proof is in the pudding, my friends. Like, they're gone, and things went south as soon as they left. I don't know her personally, but the proof is there that as soon as those technocrats left, things deteriorated pretty fast. Yeah. What more to say?
The problem is until something like that changes, which it won't, because that's like a very toxic Greek thing, in my opinion. I see it with a lot of Greeks, like especially Greeks from Greece. I don't mean to like insult Greeks in Greece. I just mean like older generation wise. Like I see that in a lot of Greeks, Greek Americans, all of it. It's a very toxic trait. This inability to recognize a fault or something that we've done and accept responsibility from what we've done.
Can I say something as well? We can call a spade as well. The larger context is so bad right now. Like in the Marinakis ownership group, they're about to get docked 10 points, probably in the UK. They are facing a massive uphill to avoid relegation. Here, they're going for 3rd or 4th place again. This whole empire is like at its knees. Like this is like a very weak moment for this whole thing, you know? If this club barely makes Conference League maybe in the summer and Forest are relegated, dude, this is how clubs go fucking bankrupt, man. Like this thing is on
Yeah.
I don't want to like speculate, but we have seen football clubs go under. We've seen football clubs get insurmountable debts. Like, I'm not saying anything, but like anyone with two eyes can see that, right? It's like
Yeah.
if they get relegated, if we don't make Europe somehow, there's some deep like fuck PR. That's the last of the problems. Like the whole thing is in the shit. Like there is like this is a deep threat to like the whole thing, you know. If Forest get relegated, gee,
Who's he
it is
going to prioritize?
but it's a financial disaster. Like it is financially a disaster. Adi, you can like describe more.
This is fake
honestly,
news, Yorgos. This came from an account that does nothing but peddle. The source of this was a guy that just peddles nonsense.
But also, I like on the PR side, it's like such a waste of money to be given to have Romano tweet about you. Like I don't want to. Like a lot of people play stupid and they're like, "Oh, Romano tweeted about a Chiquinho free transfer." You think Romano tweets about like free transfers to Olympiacos? You think that's how it works? Like in this shit, you think he just tweets like random stuff and he's the first person to get that info? I'm not going to say the word with the face, but like you have to be an idiot to be like, "Oh, Romano loves Olympiacos and we're a huge club. He's tweeting for us." Something stupid is going on there as well. It's a waste of resources. So anyway, I'm more worried that, you know, this is not sustainable. Like one, the club is playing like shit and there's no plan, but like from a business standpoint, like there's some real issues, man. Like Adi, you can run the numbers better. You've been running this FFP stuff, but I don't know about you guys, but like you've seen historic clubs basically bite the dust, like for worse. Like it feels to me over leveraged at this moment.
It is, Lambert. You're absolutely right. Like, and people, and this there's a distinction also we need to make here because a lot of fans, I still see the same idiots making the same cases, and this is usually on social media. The fact the biggest complaint everyone seems to have is, oh, Panathinaikos doesn't invest in the club. There's no money that's putting in here, and that part of it is an utter fallacy. If you are coming out of this situation and your critique about the Panathinaikos regime is that he doesn't put enough money in, you are an idiot. Because that's not the one thing he's done is dump money into this club. 3 straight years, 8 figures, millions of euros. He's put in over 40 million euros into this club to cover losses. That's it, to cover losses. So the thing you should be saying is,
but has he spent the money well?
Exactly.
That's the question.
What you need to say.
Who does he give
putting
the
a ton of money
to?
in. Well, what's he doing with it? Who's he investing in? And the real answer there is the money that's being invested, the people that he is giving the money to do the things for him, that they're the ones that are dispersing it incorrectly. And that is the problem. The problem isn't the money. He's putting the money in. The problem is, where the hell is it going? And it's been wasted. That's the clear thing. And remember, guys, we were already on thin ice this summer. That's why we had to make over 20 million euros of sales, which we did. We're about to be on thin ice again this coming summer because we straddled a fine line. We don't have European competition. Remember, even this year with nothing, we're guaranteed to get a little over 10 million euros so far in TV rights money, which helps. It helps a lot. If we're not in Europe next year and we don't get that extra 10 million or so, what do you think's going to happen? You got to sell a lot of players. We can't spend as much on wages next year either. 80% of revenue.
Adi,
it's just tighter and tighter.
This is the thing. Like again, going back to the 13 players on roster, like who can you sell? You know, last summer we had Zinkernagel,
right.
We had Biel, Onyekuru. We had a few. You look at the roster, we have Biel maybe in the summer to sell, but then you run down the list. Like maybe I can pull up the list. Agibu after a good AFCON, but like Dude,
I have the
Maddie
depth
is
chart
gone.
here.
Maddie is gone for
Maddie's
free.
gone on a free.
You
Yeah.
fucked
Yep.
it. You fucked it, man. Like what? It's unreal. And then you come
Here's
out
the
and send
depth
him to
chart.
the B team. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit if you send
Yep.
him to the B team? No one gives a shit. Like he doesn't care. He's happy. Like
Yeah.
you're the ones who didn't sell him, you idiots. Like you know what I mean? It's just Jesus incompetence from the highest level. I guess Jose Ortega you could sell.
You just paid $4 million for them.
Just paid for
It wouldn't
them.
surprise me. Heze, you could probably get double for in the summer.
Yeah, I think Jose you get money for. Ortega right now, no.
No. Yeah.
But here's who you have. Here's who you have right in the summer. This is who you have that you of the contracts that we do have. Here's who you have that sell, right? So at the forward position, you have Costulas, Algasimba, and Pinacas. Any sellable assets there?
That's it.
Yeah,
You don't
no.
have a senior striker next season. Like it's insane.
No. And
El
then
Kabi is a +1.
Uh,
He's got +1, but do you renew it?
no.
Or maybe he goes and
I
he goes,
don't.
screw it. I got decent numbers in the Greek league. Like I can go get a big.
Yeah.
He's
Go back to Turkey or go back
to Turkey
maybe.
or the Middle East,
Yeah.
Saudi
Yeah.
Arabia.
Yep. And then wingers, here's your assets. Who can you sell? You have Gelson, right? Gelson Martins, who we just brought in, who's now injured. Like we said, he probably would be. Brinic, Marios Vrusai, who signed the renewal before the loan. Maxi Lovera, remember him? And Di Vichiera.
That's crazy, dude. What? That's insane.
So then at the 10 position, you have Papiel, and I guess Kostas Liatsos at the B team. Lovera,
He's
I
not
guess,
even
counts-
playing. He's not even
doesn't-
Yeah,
playing.
he's not even playing
play.
either. So you really just
Remember
have
when he
Papiel.
was supposed to be the next guy? That's crazy.
The next Galetti.
So deeper in the midfielder, we have Hallsgrove, Agibu, Muzakitis, but that doesn't count. Fadiga, Chiquinho, and Heze.
Holy shit! They didn't even sell Fadiga this window.
No,
Like,
they
what
didn't.
are you doing, man? Like, what? It's just insane. Like, let's keep Fadiga for the fucking B team. Like, are you an idiot? Like, these decisions are so stupid, man. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, and now let's go to the
crazy.
defense. You're gonna love this, Lambro. So now left back. So you have Ortega, who
There you go.
hasn't lived up to the price tag. As far as I'm concerned, I think most people agree. Then you have returning Lambro's best friend Ramon,
Who's already he got kicked out of Espanyol, so he's going back to like a mid-tier side somewhere. Low tier.
And then you have Doran Leidner, while he has been considered in the Football Observatory to be a top prospect, he hasn't played for us, and he's coming back from injury. There's no sellability there. Then you have your right back. You have Rodinei. Not really. He's too old, really, to be an asset you can sell. You have Costinha coming in. Maybe you can get something out of him. But then otherwise, you don't have anything else at right back. Center back, you have Doi, Retsos, Nelson Abbey. We all know where Abbey's probably going to end up. Bagalianis, Kalogeropoulos coming back. Biancon, Koutsidis, and now Vezo. So,
dude, it's terrible, man.
who can you sell? Tell me on this
Vezo.
list. Like Retsos, maybe.
Vezo,
Like,
man.
just had a
Vezo was
decent
the
season.
shittiest sign. Vezo was a complete agent signing. It was like, can you guys do me a favor and sign Vezo? That's like literally the only way you can describe it. It's like insane. It's insane.
Watch my scouting report on him if you think that we're missing something there.
Gaston Hernandez.
These are your sellable assets, and then your goalkeepers. You're gonna have Botis that we just brought from Inter Milan, Papadudis and Karagiris. So of this whole squad that we're gonna have in the summer, who the hell can you sell? Who? Maybe has them Pepiel, whatever you get from Augsburg, which is going to be a loss from his initial. That's going to make this even worse because we don't have sellable assets. We don't really have anybody unless somebody turns up in the middle of the season here. There's no sellable assets.
Also, you don't have the money to activate the options. So Horta, Alexandropoulos, etc. You don't have the money to activate these. Cabral, even 3 million euros. I don't think you have the money. Podense.
No.
We don't have the money to activate the options because we are so behind in FFP and in a shit show financially. It's so bad. It's so bad.
The one thing that kind of does help us is the fact that because we have so many players that are going to be gone, the way we are going to be so well under the squad ratio because we won't have any players on contract. We actually can skirt that reporting period of FFP because we will have such a low wage bill. It'll look so good for for revenues and expenses. So you do have something there at least. But yeah, man, it's like it's the people, because a lot of people can only see what's right in front of them, like what's on the football field. This sucks. This doesn't suck. Panathinaikos doesn't spend a lot of money. They don't look at like what's going on and bubbling underneath. It can't get any worse. You don't see what's bubbling underneath. It can get worse.
It can't get worse.
It can. It always can get worse. It always can get worse.
There's no light at the end of the tunnel with this club. Like that's the issue. There's no plan. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. There's disaster and pandemonium. That's like the only thing. Like I'm looking at our depth chart right now. It's on Twitter, Instagram, and you're just like, even the players who are up for renew, Jesus Christ, some of them suck, you know, like you don't even want them back. And I think after maybe it was the Freiburg game or it was another game where we went through the squad list, like the 23 man, and you look at it, you go name by name, and you're just like, what is this? You know what I mean? You're just like, there is not enough talent. There's not enough, et cetera, et cetera. It's just absolutely devastating.
Yeah. Maybe, but maybe, you know what? Maybe in a way.
What is Kuyas, man? What is he telling us? Like, he's telling us they're gonna fight and stuff like that. You can't blame this on Apple. You can't blame this on a referee. Like, if we get destroyed by Fenerbahce in the Conference League, how disappointing is that going to be? Just devastating. That's like the cherry on top of this dead carcass that has been brewing for a
and
few
the thing
years
is,
now.
like, that's a home game with fans.
Yeah, Jesus. The Greek government put the cameras in. Don't worry, Costa. It's all going to be okay.
No.
They now have cameras.
You know what, though? Like, the thing is, like, you guys are both saying that, like, the situation's bleak, right? With a 3-club ownership and Nottingham Forest probably getting docked points. It's looking hard for them, especially if they get docked points. Like, I can't see how. I mean, let's see. Football's football. Funnier things have happened, but what makes me kind of sad is that the other week I had a chat with a friend that's a sports lawyer. He works in this stuff. He's seen a lot of things in football, and he says to me at one point, we're talking, and he says, if an owner or an investor is looking to buy a Portuguese club, that's normally a really good sign that they want to do something and that there's a footballing project. And you look at this guy Castinho that we're bringing in as well. His data is like similar to, they're talking about him in a similar way that they were talking about Leidner, or just, I think there was some stats that came up the other day that I saw. He's like statistically the best right back in the Portuguese league right now. And we're all thinking, like, how the hell did we manage to scoop him up? My point is that, like, yeah, I am actually sad because you said it too, Labro. It's not that the owner doesn't invest money. It's like, and I think even making that investment in Portugal, if and when it goes through officially, because it's not like rubber stamped yet, but like it's a step in a good direction, but too little, too late. And my big worry is actually that if Forest gets relegated as well, like this season, I personally, I have to tell you guys, like, I think that this season ends with us out of Europe, and going into the 100 years of the club out of Europe. That maybe I'm just like too far inside that tunnel right now, and it's a really dark place for me in terms of the club. But that's what I see right now. That's what I see at the end of the tunnel for us. And then add to that Forest going down, and looking at how we handled things last season when Forest came up, knowing that there are people at the club that deal on both sides, that really worries me. Do I think like there are measures in place for Premier League teams that go down to like financially get parachute or whatever? But yeah, that really worries me, man. You know what? Actually, like the whole FFP stuff and the fact that we might be limited in the market, I see that as a good thing. I can't stand it anymore. I can't stand it anymore. Fuck. Like he invests what 2 million a season into the academy or whatever we invest, and I'm like a broken record, but just take the pieces that are decent enough and like do something, like make something. Like what do you think? What do you think Lucescu's done at PAOK, man? You think he had an amazing team at the beginning of the season? No, but he worked with his squad and he made a few additions at the end of the window. But his core was there. Like we don't have a bloody core. We had a core at the beginning of the season. We didn't like it. Like some of the transfers were failures. They're like everyone's talking about Gordon and like how he fucked up, he overcooked or whatever. It's like yeah, Nicholas Freire was shit. What's his name? Jackson Perosa was pretty decent, but then he got injured and he scored an own goal today at Kasimbasa. Like you can't always get it right, and like people attack Kinney and Ibora. Kinney, like that's what happens when you bring in a coach like that. He wants to bring in his guys. He wants to bring in his guys. They're on a 1-year contract. Who the fuck wanted to come and play for us this summer?
Yeah.
Who the hell in their right mind look at us and look at our results last season and say, yeah, that's the place that I want to go and play at, we don't need to remind what happened last season. But what was the objective at the beginning of the season? The objective of the beginning of the season was get us into the group stage and let's get started in the league. Did Martinez fail? So is that a question we've asked ourselves? So like I have. Has everybody thought about that? Did Martinez fail at the objective that was given? Did Gordon and Martinez manage to get us into the group stage with Kinney and Ibora in the starting lineup? Good. Were Kinney and Ibora going to be starters in the team next season? Were they going to be around? No. Were they short-term signings? Yes. So, like, we're not the same Olympiacos that we were. People need to get that into their head.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. 100%.
Right. I'm just pointing at problems. I'm sorry, like I'm not giving solutions. We try to talk solutions.
We talk solutions way too much on this fucking podcast. That we talk about the academy, we talk about transfer ideas, and none of it ever gets taken. Like none of the ideas we think about, none of the things we talk about that the fans like, that footballing people we talk to think happen. Literally, what is the point of Cabral? Like, why the fuck do you sign this guy? Like, who's the idiot who cooked that? Like, to come for 3 months when you don't have the cup, you're basically out of the league. What the fuck, man? Like, who cooks this stuff? Who comes? It's like deadline day bullshit. Like, if you guys ever watch like Sunderland Till I Die, have you seen that shit on Netflix?
Yeah.
It is terrible. Like you have the owner or whatever there on like deadline day, and he's like, "Fuck it, let's go in for this winger. I like him." It like feels like that. It's like, "Fuck it, Cabral." I saw a few flick over the heads, dude. Like, what the fuck, man? Who cooks this stuff? Like, who comes up with these stupid ideas? Who's like, you know what, guys? Like, listen up. What about Jovan Cabral on loan, who's still at AFCON? Who's going to be here for 2.5 months? It's like, who is the idiot who came up with that and was like, okay, that's a great idea. Let's go for it. You already fucked it with Gelson Martins, who was clearly overweight and injured. Like, also you got rid of Rusai, which is fine. Rusai for me is average. But your idiot Cabral can't play in Europe, man. So what's the point? He's going to play against La Mia every week? Like, what the hell? It's like the stupidest things I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's basic stuff. It's basic team building. It's basic ideas. They don't do it. This guy, Vezo, what the fuck, man? Why? Who is the idiot who came up with that? It's so stupid, man. It makes no sense from a footballing side. It makes zero sense. And like, this is the thing about football. Vezo could turn out, but that doesn't mean that the idea was good. The idea was shit, man. And we've been burned over and over and over again with these shit ideas, man. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. I'm just, it's what am I gonna do? Go to the stadium and get Vezo's name on the back of my shirt? Like get excited for Vezo or Cabral for 3-month loan? Like
that's a really important point. That's a really important point, because there's no connection to this team anymore. There's no connection between the players, and there's no connection between the fans and the players. The only connection that exists between fans and player is with Fortunis. And that tells a lot about this club, actually. A player that's out of contract, you don't know where he's going, what's going to happen. That's probably the only real connection there is in this club right now. And I find that, I really don't mean this in a nasty way, but like, there's something wrong with that.
This football club is like a dead carcass, man. Like, it is like a dead body. Like, what the fans love Fortuny so much and go to are like so pissed if they hear he's going to leave, because they know if he leaves, they're going to bring someone 10 times shittier than him. Yeah. And Fortunis brings them a connection to the good memories. Like, Fortunis was there with Marco Silva. Like, Fortunis was there with some great, he was the assist for the Hassan winner versus PSV. Like, it's like, you can remember him. The rest of these fucking guys, like, what if we lived with them? Like some of these guys. I'm looking at the list, like Mari Camara, like was around here when we had some glory days, but like the rest of them, Masuras, I guess,
he was around.
People don't have connections to these players. Like, people don't. You know what I mean? Like, these people are dead bodies. They come in, they go. The next one comes, the next one goes. Another Portuguese name, another whatever. We have no connection to any of these people. Like, there's no. I don't know.
You're right. Lambro, you're right. You're 100% right. And the problem is we're bringing new faces in, and the old faces that we had the good memories with are gone, and we're not generating good memories with the new faces. They're either not here long enough, or we suck so much that we can't generate that. So literally, as time goes on, you're gonna lose the last bit of that, like that connection, that I don't know, that magical connection maybe. With some of these players.
But even if I talk to friends who go to the stadium, and it's like, the stadium doesn't fill out anymore. Like, people are not going anymore because it's fucking expensive, one, and there's no plan. It's bullshit, man. Like, why are we going to go to the stadium and pay our money and then be thrown shit in our face by stupid reporters who tell us bullshit, man? Like, the team sucks. The transfers suck. There's no plan. Like, Alves brought some good players. He brought some Band-Aids. He's like trying his best over here. But Jesus Christ, man, this club has not been anything. It's been like a dead body for almost 2 years. You can't have people, passionate, like, let's go to Kariskaki and support the guys. Like, it's so bad. It's so bad, guys. I'm just, I don't.
Can I share actually what I got a DM from somebody? I won't say his name, but to kind of go along with what you were saying, Lambro, about like, why would we spend our money, and when the product is so bad. And I had gotten a message from somebody, and what he had said to me was, Olympiacos for me was always my escape. Work, I can have really hard weeks at work, but I always know on the weekend I have Olympiacos. For the last 2 years, I now dread my weekend, because normally I would look forward to Olympiacos, but now I know when I watch Olympiacos, the product on the field is going to be terrible, and I will be just as frustrated, upset, and stressed as I am when I go back to work. It has now left me in an unhealthy loop, an unhealthy psychological loop, because the escape I had from work is no longer there. And now I've had to find something else that will calm my stress from work.
Yeah. What? It sounds
Think
like
of-
I
so-
wrote that
and-
message. Sounds like I
and I
write the
think-
fucking message.
And
Yeah.
this is important. This is really important. Like, if they don't understand this, if they don't understand this in the back office, and they've lost the plot completely, because we as fans, like, we dedicate our time and our money to this club because we love it. This, you know, you might be having a bad day at work, or you might be having a bad week, but there's always Olympiacos. There's always your team. Signings, this. And you know what? In reality, does this have real impact on our lives directly? No. But it makes us feel good. It's something that we have. It's something that you have community, you have people you meet, you discuss around. That's what sports is for. That's why it's so beautiful. But then when the product is terrible and it's not giving you the good experiences that you need that are uplifting for you, what's the point? What's the point to it? And they need to understand that. Like, this isn't just you follow the club no matter what, no matter who's there. That's not the outlook you
We're
should
not
have.
cheap. We're not fucking cheap.
Yeah.
We don't
We're-
just fucking follow whatever and everyone says fuck you if you don't. We can have so much shit thrown in our face like before we say, you know what, like this is not
Right.
acceptable. You know what? In most countries, even with no fan ban, that stadium would be empty. That stadium, you think Nottingham Forest fans, like whatever, would deal with the shit we've gone through, like as a club, like they'd empty out that stadium. Their saving grace was this guy, Steve Cooper. He figured it out. He went on a run and got them promoted. Like, there was no reason, you know, there was no built plan, like 5-year plan that got Nottingham Forest promoted. They hit the manager and they rode that to the lottery. And I still think they're just winging it. You know, they're just winging it. They're just like, fuck it, let's figure it out. And I don't, like, I'm so disappointed. Like, I shouldn't say like I expect it, but like the organized fans, like, you guys have anything, you know, like, aren't you supposed to represent us? You want to talk about the manager? You want to talk about the club? Like, we've just watched this thing deteriorate to shit. And like, the only time you'll come out is probably to say like Carvajal will chase you with evil. Like, dude, what the fuck, man? Like, you're supposed to be the voice of like the fans of this club, and you're leaving it to just like the randoms on Twitter to basically rant and like be the voice of people. It's just, where have they been? Like, they haven't released a statement about like the football club and anything. It's just like a death spiral that feels like it's never going to end. Like, and maybe that's a bit dramatic, but like, I seriously see a scenario like I'm where Costa is, where I'm just like, it could be 100 years, and there's like rumors like Olympiacos like is not financially solvent. Like, there's issues at the club, finances are in trouble, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like, and then we eat Kuyas in the face, man. Like, one of the most. I don't want to get sued, so I'm not going to say anything. But just like, it's like on top of that, it's like, enjoy Kuyas, man. Like, enjoy Kuyas, like representing your club. Like, who wants to defend Kuyas, man? Like, who wants to be like, that's my guy. I love that guy. You guys want that guy representing Olympiacos? Like, as as fans, you want that guy speaking on behalf of you? Like, I asked you guys in the comments. Like, I think there's a lot of people in the country who support the club who are happy with him there, but like, I find it so disgraceful. Like, I don't want to slander the man's name and end up being sued, but I'm just so disappointed in what this club has become. So,
Lambro, I'm with you, man. Everything you just said, I agree with. And one thing I'll add on to that as well, like, while we're talking about, because I know in the past there's been talk about like, oh no, the people don't want to come because there's other factors involved. That's why they're not coming to the stadium. But for me, the proof is in the pudding with Panathinaikos. Panathinaikos couldn't get anybody in the stadium for years. Look at what Jovanovic did. They sell out Owaka. They hadn't done that in a decade. Are you kidding me? These guys couldn't get 10,000 fans to come to a game ever. Now they're selling out the stadium. Doesn't matter where they play, because they put a good product on the field and there's a vision. There was a vision. Sure, Tareem, I don't rate Tareem as much as I do Jovanovic, but guess what? He brought in a couple of names. He's getting results, even if it's ugly. He's getting people there. And they are filling the stadium. That's how you fill the stadium. There's no conspiracy about it. There's no economic condition, this or that. that has an impact always, but good product brings people. Simple as that.
Vision, plan,
product.
trust.
That's it. That's it.
There's none of that at this club. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Costa, you have any opinion?
Honestly, man, I don't know what more to add at this stage. Like,
okay, let's go positive. Like, because there's going to be people. Like, how does the club turn it around? Literally, how do they turn it around?
Well, and people aren't going to like me saying this, but you have one of two choices. You either bring in Ibagaza, let him finish the season, or you stick with Carvajal to the end of the season. You just brought all of his guys in, even if many of them are loans. But you start planning from today, and you plan for next season. You just begin planning. You start the hunt early. You know Carvajal, whether you fire him or not at this moment, is not going to be there, and you start planning from now. You make a comprehensive plan. You have 6 months, or we're in February, sorry. You have 4 months until the end of January, 4.5 months, 5 months, we'll say till July. You have a lot of time to put together a comprehensive plan, who you're going to bring in, whatever. And then that's step one. You make the plan, figure out who you're going to bring them in. Plan two, figure out how in God's name you're going to learn to have some fucking patience. Because if you're going to do all this planning and get somebody in here just to bin him off after a month, if he loses one game, you lost the whole point of the whole thing. So that's how you do it. You make a plan and you trust the plan. You trust your fucking plan. You stick with it. Otherwise, we're going to end up in the same disaster. So that's it. You have two choices.
And you got to figure out. You know what's so crazy is like the incompetence to let your players get to the point where they can negotiate free transfers. Like anyone who plays Football Manager knows that. Like you don't let your footballers get to 6 months left on a contract
ever,
because now you're competing and they can offer signing bonuses. And so we got to figure out who we're bringing back in July too, because we need people at this point. We need bodies. Bad. Fortunis, El Kabi, the whole lot of them. You got to figure it out.
I said it earlier in the show. The club's got to bring in a proper manager, and they have to do it now. Like they have to know who it is already. They've got to be talking to people now for next season. This season's over. They try and save whatever they can. I think they need to already start thinking about next season and start making some, God forbid, strategic decisions, especially with some of the youngsters that have been talked about. We talked about Kostoulas, Mouzakitis. Midfield's looking a bit packed now, to be fair. But you've got to bring something into this team, like to give some sort of hope to fans that there is something to look forward to next season. I can't see, for example, this is why I insist on the youth thing. I can't see, for example, like Kostoulas and young players getting invited to go to preseason. Like normally, and this is like, I don't know exactly what happened this summer with Kostoulas because there was talk about him going to preseason with Mouzakitis, but neither of them went. Mouzakitis had an injury. Like Kostoulas, we don't know what happened, but there was some talk that basically the new coach, like Martinez, came in and said, it's like, I don't know who that is. Like, I need to go with the adults and like, I'll see about that later, which I kind of get. Yeah, but you could argue the club should have told him before. It's like, we have this young player in our academy. He's a fucking star. Like you're taking him. It's a tough one. It's a tough one, guys. Like I feel very strongly about the academy point that we need to start playing some of those players already and fuck these loans. Like honestly, would it surprise you guys if Navarro's loan got cut like a month from now?
Nothing surprises me anymore.
Like exactly, it's like at this point, like nothing surprises me. But like I'm trying so hard to find something positive to say, like about where do we go from here.
I forgot one. So first one I said you pick your choice, whether you keep Carvajal or bring in Ibagaza finish. Second was you learned how to have patience. And number 3 is you learn how to actually communicate with the fans. No more bullshit, no more propaganda. And I'm not saying you have to directly say, "God, oh, by the way, guys, this is what we're doing in the office today," like that kind of crap. No, you do it how most of these professional organizations do, like in the US or in the UK, like in the United States, like you have franchises. Yeah, are they telling you everything they're doing? No, but they make it very clear, like, nope, we're putting this team together, we're restarting a project, we want this, and this. Boom. That's the goal. We're trying to focus for this, and then we're gonna go here. We just need to know that there is a plan, because there's not. How do you like look what Arsenal did with Mikel Arteta when he came, right? People were upset, they didn't know what was going on, and they signaled to everybody. They signaled, no, the goal is we're going to build here. We have a 3-year plan. We're not expecting anything this year, next year, but we have holes to fill. We're going to fill the holes like this, and depending on what Arteta sees, and then the 3rd year we're pushing for this. You have to be, you can't be afraid to do that. You have to do that. Some way to be just be some kind of transparency. It doesn't matter to me.
They're too proud, man.
And that's it.
But the Cabral and Vezo signings are like the purest example of what is wrong with this club. It's like when you signed it, like people were so excited and were pissed at us for our like downer tweets. And it's just like, you don't understand. We're down on the players, sure, but it's a greater representation of what is so fucking wrong with the club.
Right.
That's the issue. And I don't know what to say. Like, also, so Lakis, they screwed, man. Like, it's crazy. That guy, like, who are we kidding? Like, what youngster are they going to play, man? They've never done anything. Like, they've never done anything with the young player. It's just, I swear, it's just impossible. It's just impossible to see hope at the end. And I got shit on for being negative for so long. Like, I'm just, it's so disappointing. Like, it's so, I don't know.
It's frustrating.
I don't know.
Guys, we just dropped the link in the chat.
It's just going to be so disappointing if he signs for free somewhere in like the Netherlands.
I'm with you. I agree with that. Guys, we just dropped the link into the chat, by the way, if you want to come have a chat with us so that we're not just the only ones talking. Hit the link. English, Greek, Spanish, French, whatever language you speak.
Also, question. Like, should some people be fired who haven't been fired yet? Is that like Karambe? I know is like just like a freaking. Why can't we fire him? Like, I just want to fire him. Like, he's been through all of the shit. Like, what is his role? Is he the club's ambassador?
Strategic something? Isn't he like a strategic?
Well, his strategy's been shit, man. Like, fire him. Like, he should be gone, man. Why is he completely immune to all of this shit? Like, it's crazy,
Yeah.
It's just so disappointing. Like, I'm just thinking back to Marcelo as well. Just so disappointing. So disappointing.
Yeah. I don't. Carabez, the club's mascot.
Man.
It's bleak, man. It's bleak. And
it's worse than last season. It's like worse than last season, I think.
This is worse than Hazi. This is worse, as far as I'm concerned. This is worse than
this is much worse than Hazi. Like, at least you had Marco Marin back then, baby. Let that guy cook. He was.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Well, Tsolakis is out of contract, guys.
Yeah,
that's why.
Bento was much better than this as well. Like, Bento beat that Turkish team and took us to Beşiktaş, even though we lost. Like,
yeah.
I want to shout out John Moretti, 17 years old, Greek living abroad, followed from afar, but started properly watching Olympiacos the last 2 years. At least we still have basketball. Man, I feel sorry for you if you only started watching 2 years ago.
Yeah, you
missed the golden years, mate. But you're right. At least we still have basketball that's enjoyable to watch. But thank you for joining, John Moretti, and everybody else that's with us tonight.
Also,
hit the like button if you haven't done already. It's a pathetic amount of likes for the amount of people that have come through. It doesn't take you a long time. We did drop a link as well for people to join. We'll drop it again. I actually see somebody's here already.
Oh, we have somebody. Bring him on. Oh, I have to do that.
unreal.
All right, we've got Alexander El Ghazar. How are you doing, buddy?
Not well, like all of us would.
Even got the flag
Well-
and the jacket on. God damn it! I feel bad.
That's
for
my
you.
it's my dorm. I even have a miniature
Where
sketch.
you-
Oh
where
my
you
God!
coming
You're
from?
like, how can I escape this? And you look everywhere. You wake up in the morning. You look at the flag.
I made my
Alex,
dorm room.
where are you
red and
tuning
white.
in from?
Rotterdam.
Oh,
Near me.
very nice. Very nice. So share with us, give us a little bit of your thoughts here. We'll make it like simpler so you have a line of thought you can talk about. Are you keeping Carvajal? Do you switch for Ibagaza? What would you do if you are ownership of Olympiacos? What would you do in this situation?
I mean, honestly, I think changing coach now is just indifferent to our situation. Like, I honestly think Bagaza maybe would be our best solution. He knows the DNA of the club. But again, I think just changing coach is a short-term solution right now, and the problem is just way bigger than that. It's always been for the last 2 seasons.
Well, what would you do then? Okay, we'll say you keep Carvajal. What are your next? What are you doing from this point?
I think the academy point's a really good one. Al Gasimba, certainly, and Kostula's brothers. We have nothing to lose if we promote them and play them. Every club and every club's doing it. Why can't we do it? I don't understand.
I think after we go out in Europe, there's nothing to lose the rest of the season because Aris won't catch us. Jesus Christ. I hope they don't catch us. Like, I shouldn't.
Yeah, it's like you
Jesus Christ. Cause scrap that, like, with this club. Right? So
It's only like they're 7 points behind us.
have
It's
we
just-
won a derby all season?
No.
We won in Vikeli. That was the only one. I don't even know if we call it
It's
a
like
derby now.
It's
It's
not
like
a
the derby
nah.
from Wish, it's like the shitty derby. You're just like, oh,
God.
man.
What do you think of our business in the transfer market in January?
I saw someone wrote it on Instagram as well today. Like, instead of bringing 3 or 4 really quality permanent signings, we brought in, most of them were loans. We brought in Cabral and Ruben Vezo, those types of players, which, it's the problem. We do this every transfer window. We bring in, I wrote it in the chat as well, but we bring in 8 or 9 players every transfer window, hoping that 1 or 2 of them will stick.
Yeah.
And then one of them sticks, and then the others leave, and then another 8 come in, and it's just cycling. It's not a sustainable way of being a football club.
Yeah. Little spoiler from the scouting report for Vezo. My conclusion with him is he's a solution to a problem we don't have. Just FYI.
Okay.
He has core talents, but like
Well, hopefully he's the one
it's not
that's gonna stick then.
yeah.
It's wishful thinking.
Yeah. It's
Don't
one
get
of
your
the
hopes up.
No, but the Kostula's brothers, that's like every week on Instagram I see videos of what they do in the B team, and I question every single time why are they not being promoted to the first team or getting minutes at least.
if this were the PAOK International podcast, we'd be talking about them because they'd already be on the team. If this were PAOK, I guarantee you that they'd be
PAOK, honestly, like look at Zima, look at obviously Kosadelia, Zolis. I don't want to say, but like in terms of giving opportunities to the young talent, they're number 1 in Greece. And
you
that's
can say
something
that.
that
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah,
I
doing
don't want to
something
say
right.
that. I would say
They're doing something right.
For sure.
They really are. They really are.
Yeah,
Oh man, the lobby's packing up here. Look, we actually have volunteers to talk. Doesn't usually happen.
Alex, where are you from originally?
I'm half Greek, half Egyptian.
Okay. Are you born abroad or you're like from
Yeah, I
Greece
was born
studying?
in the. Yeah, I was born in the US, but then I lived in Egypt and Greece my whole life, basically. And now I'm studying
you were born in the
in
US.
Rotterdam. Yes.
Where in the US are you from?
North Carolina. It's very random.
Nice.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay.
Charlotte, near the Charlotte area?
Wilmington.
Wilmington.
I don't know
I
if
used to be
that's
down in that
close
area
or-
all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
born there, and then straight away I just moved right after I was born. So, yeah.
That's
Nice.
crazy. What a small world. Well, Alex, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you,
we're gonna
guys.
bring on the next
Continue.
person. It seems people want to join today, but thank you so much for
Thanks,
tuning
Alex.
in. Thank you for being a part of the
See
community,
you guys.
buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Ciao.
Okay, up next, looks like we have audio only for this one. Is this Aris Galamatis? Because I see Aris, ARES.
Yes. Can you hear
Hello.
This
me?
is you.
We can
what's
hear
going
you.
on, buddy?
Okay.
Aris, can you hear us?
Guys, thanks. You're the good friend after every disaster that we have gone through the past few years.
If things eventually start going well, please keep listening to us.
Yeah.
Of course, I will. And yeah, more to that. Nevertheless, I just wanted to ask you. I have written a lot of comments. Nevertheless, I mean, what do you think about the management? How the ownership is dealing with the team? It's not exactly that they have done the best things the Kokalis era. Not that the Kokalis era was good. Nevertheless, even afterwards, Marinakis has not made the best decision. In my opinion, it's like he had coaches like Hubert, Martins, what's the other Portuguese? Not Sardim, Silva.
Silva. Yeah.
These guys took over the team, made some good decisions, and they brought people around them that could work out the whole management, the finances.
The club also.
It seems like without these kind of coaches, that there is no possibility that the team has any way to move forward with the ownership that we have.
Yeah. Can I take this one, Adi?
Yeah, go for it, Lamba.
I think also a lot of people forget about the Marinakis era at Olympiacos was dominated by the financial crisis. Is that fair to say? Like, you had Panathinaikos in shambles, you had Ike relegated, you Aris was not a thing really. So you had PAOK was basically the essential rival, and they never were that rival until, Lucescu came along and blah blah blah. And a lot of those titles, I think he got away with a lot of this shit because there was no one to compete with us, and we had money from the Champions League that covered the cracks of the situation really well. And I think that's also something to think, like, maybe some of those teams that we thought about were so great because we had the money from the Champions League, and the rest of the country was in such dire straits. It's
Man,
it's one thing to
may
consider.
interrupt you.
Go
Sorry,
ahead. Go ahead, my friend. Go.
Sorry for the interruption, but I'm a little bit older, so I remember
Go ahead.
I became a fan way before the Marinakis era. So I heard the same argument for Kokalis, that the team was in that the country was in shambles, that every other team was complete crap. That was true. Even before the Marinakis era, even in Kokalis era. The difference in Marinakis era was that he brought in managers that he trusted. Kokalis brought only Bajevic that he trusted, and everyone else. In this context, how helping you assess the current situation with changing managers, directors, upper management, etc.
I'll let the older guys take this one. How about that?
So, Adis, I'll tell you also. So there's a couple things here, and not not one of them in particular is necessarily the reason, I guess, maybe for the difference. But we also have to remember before Pedro Martins, Marinakis was not acting that much different than he is now. We were still changing coaches almost every season. Michel was here a season and a half before he left. But we were like you had when Marinakis came in, we had Ernesto Valverde for 2 seasons, but then Zardim in, out, gone. The season after Zardim, who's after Zardim?
Yeah.
We were still changing coaches
No,
every season.
Zardim actually left us and won the French League with Monaco against Paris Saint-Germain, against the Saudi Arabian money. That was the most insane thing.
Right.
After Corberan.
After Corberan? I didn't hear what you said. You cut out at the end. It sounded like you
because
said
Corberan is going to do great things that also Zardim did.
Look, that I agree with you with. I really liked when we brought on Corberan, but unfortunately, the context aside, he needed to come sooner. But the whole point is that the more we go on here, we start to see that Pedro Martins, like that era, that 4-year plus, is seeming like to be more the exception than the rule. Because even before this Marinakis, we were changing coaches every season and a half. Like if we had a good, like Ernesto Valverde was 2 seasons, Michel season and a half. Like we didn't have a lot of stability before him. And then even in the Kokalis era, who did we have that stayed more than a couple seasons? Bajevic? I'm trying to think of a coach.
Bajevic.
I'm trying to think of a coach that stayed here more than like 2-3 seasons.
That's my point. I mean,
Lemonier.
Okay, there you go. Thank you, Coach.
Okay.
So
about caretaker coaches.
Right.
The point is that should we actually have a manager, even if it is not the best, but kind of is getting there. Like Valverde, when he joined our team, he was not the best manager. He was not managing Barcelona, Bilbao, and all the teams that he achieved so many things. He achieved so many with us. Valverde is the best example. But even Martins was in the first season that was not good from results. But he showed up football that we really loved to look at. And we knew that we could build up from there. Shouldn't we focus as a team and as fans for those managers instead of asking to transfer again?
Yes, you're right. Yes, but the second part of that is not just getting that, paying that. You have to have the patience because no coach is going to be perfect through a season. Our problem is that since Pedro Martins, we stayed with Pedro Martins so long, and then we stuck with him even when there was a noticeable decline, and we let it go to a point where we got embarrassed by Maccabi Haifa. That then has created this like PTSD of holding someone too long, and we're afraid to let people fail in the short term. That's the problem. You have to have patience too. That's the problem, and we don't.
You said at one point that it is better to keep Martinez instead of bringing in the Portuguese. I disagree with the Portuguese in that conversation in the comments. I said, okay, better bring Ibahasa from the academy. But things need to change because Martinez and Corberan left Martinez. So there was no future in that relationship.
Cordon, you mean?
Nevertheless, Cordon, sorry. Yeah, absolutely right. Now, thinking of what happened, wouldn't it have better to keep even Martins? Would it be better to keep Martins instead of changing to Don Martinez project that failed because Don jumped boat in a couple of months? And then we changed management into some guys that don't really care about what is happening. except for the agents they are talking to in Portugal.
So I'll start answering that question with the following. So regarding Pedro Martins, the problem for me wasn't the firing of Pedro Martins, it was when he was fired. If you were going to leave with Pedro, if you were going to fire Pedro Martins, you have to fire him at the beginning of the season. You leave on a high. He's 4 years here. He's a legend. The last season was in decline. You embrace a new project, but we didn't. We stayed with him. We waited till it got so bad after he had lost the locker room, after he had clearly lost the plot, period, and he goes and he loses to Maccabi Haifa. Now, at that point, we were all so upset we wanted him to leave. But in hindsight, if you had already started and brought in the pieces he wanted in, like the Zinkernagels, I don't remember if Pep Biel was his or Corberan's. I think it was Corberan's signing.
Yeah.
But you started to bring pieces that he wanted in. And for me, once you start to give somebody what they're asking for and you start bringing assets in, you have to stay the course. Otherwise, you're just wasting money. And they end up firing him. They bring in Corberan. We expect Corberan to fix the mess that he made. And Corberan tries to bring his guys in. We give Corberan a month, and then he's out too. So for me, with what I've seen now and once you keep Martins, you keep him. Unless it becomes a disaster.
It was too bad. Speaking to players, like there was no saving Martins there.
Right, exactly. And that was the problem. Yeah. That's why they got rid of him. The locker room was gone. If there wasn't locker room issues, you stick with him. But there was. Unfortunately, it was
they
that
wouldn't
bad.
play for him anymore. It was so toxic.
Right. Yeah.
So.
In this case, with Diego Martinez,
I agree with you. So what is the reasoning of bringing in a Portuguese manager afterwards?
Oh, you mean
because Marinakis went to Mendes, Marinakis brought Mendes back into the circle because essentially he went back to Mendes, who supported him getting Nuno Espirito Santo at Forest, and brought him Reina as well to Forest, and brought him players, because I think Olympiacos we saw it this summer, we struggled so hard to bring players all summer. Yeah. And in the end, I don't think without Mendes, we bring Horta, we bring in Carmo, we bring in. Obviously, the deal was he's going to bring us these players, but he's also going to bring us maybe a few stinkers, like a few of his more shitty players.
Lambro, I can understand what you're saying, but okay, the problem is not bringing in players. We have so many players.
I know.
That we wasted.
I know. I'm with you. I'm just explaining the logic. That I think was their logic, not my logic. That's my.
Yeah, no, we disagree with that.
That's not a logic. That's insanity.
That's the logic. The logic is insanity.
It is insanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but okay. So should we not care so much about managers and players? Should we care more about what is going to happen in the upper management of the team? I mean, Marinakis, he's okay. It's all the me. He's old. He does not have the edge he had when he was younger. Shouldn't he start trusting some more competent people than the people that have run the club up until now?
That's a question we don't have the answer to, my friend. We don't like. I wish I knew what was going on in that man's head, honestly, but I don't think that's something that we can really say anything valid.
Also, if you remember, do you remember the press conference this season? This summer going. He was like, last season wasn't as bad as a lot of people made it out to me. Do you remember that? Do you remember when he said that? He was like, he said that. He was like, it wasn't so bad. The media was
curious at what I was hearing.
Yeah. He said that in the press conference.
God,
he said
that was insane.
He was like, a few bad results there. Like, people overblew it. The fans and media overblew it, blah, blah, blah. But then he was like, nevertheless, like, blah, blah, blah. But it was like the fact that he didn't realize how horrific last season was, where I was a bit worried. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Lambros, I usually disagree with you, but on this one, you're absolutely correct.
Thank you.
That press conference told me that this season is going to be a disaster.
Man, I think we've also talked about on the podcast when Martial and I went to the stadium and talked with players, specifically El Arabi, and he told us, he was like, they brought in so many random guys on loan. Like, this is a disaster waiting to happen. Basically what he said. He was just like,
Yeah.
he was like, I don't understand the strategy here. They got rid of Valbuena and MVA, which is fine. Like, they can do that. But like, they replaced them with loans and with band-aids, and there's no leadership in the team. And the problem with a lot of the loan players they brought, the moment they didn't start playing, they were going to throw a fit. And anyway, you just knew something horrible was in the pipes. Let's say, it was something was coming. And when speaking with
That's
him,
my other problem, Lambro. That's my other problem. I mean, on the pitch, we have leadership. We have Fortun, we have Masuras, we have several guys from the academy.
Yeah.
Let's say even Retos is from the academy, even though he went on the, let's say, Agrotico, how we say it back home.
He paid his dues.
Doi is from the academy. And we have a lot of kids from the academy that can come in, bring the spirit into the team. And that is why when the discussion with whether Martinez should leave, when Corberan left him alone, Ipagasa was a good choice at that point because the season was lost anyway. The project on the summer was completely lost when Corberan left. The ownership should understand this.
I think they're so in water. They're underwater, let's say, of their own demise almost to an extent. But I also think no one expected Nottingham Forest to get promoted and what that entailed. I don't think they had plans for what a promotion meant. And I think that's also, it's bad. People don't like us talking about Nottingham Forest so much, but unfortunately the two things are interlinked. And I think after they got promoted, it's been a disaster since they got promoted as well for us. I don't think that's a complete surprise as well.
No.
Well, I mean, it's a disaster for Nottingham Forest because it's struggling to remain in the first division in England.
Well, that was the
They're
thing.
kind of
Remember,
a joke in England.
Forest got promoted
Even
because they had a
Athletic
ton
made
of
an
players
article
on loans.
in England about Forest and the ownership, how bad they are.
Yeah, but they didn't have their own players that summer, right? They loaned Zinkernagel, they loaned the striker, they loaned Joe Garner, was that his name? They loaned in the fullback. They didn't have their own players basically promoting them, and then the season
ended. I live in England. I was Nottingham Forest.
So it was just like a complete, like, you would know better, but like no one thought they would get promoted, and there was no plan after they got promoted. It was like, holy shit, we just got promoted. We have a ton of money. We need players now. Okay.
I will say also the
Guys,
behavior.
Who can bring a plan? Who do you think can bring a plan in the team?
Can bring what?
Who can actually make not our team, Marinakis greater group with Portugal and future Italy? How can this thing work out, in your opinion?
Yeah.
Or do we need to just change ownership in order to become a team again?
Listen, the multi-ownership group model, the reason so many people are trying to do it is because it does work. But there's a plan that has to be in place. You have to have a cyclical flow between clubs. It can work, but you can't run things on a whim. And right now, this club is kind of run like the way a gambling addict when he's in like Las Vegas, he starts losing, but then he goes, "Oh, okay, I'll win everything back if I make this move." And then you lose. Okay, you know what? I'm going to go take a loan off my credit card and I'm going to put it all on black because if I win this, I'll get all that money back. But then you end up losing and now you're in a hole even further. And that's like kind of what it feels like here. So I'll leave you guys with that because I'm going to sign off. I do have to leave, but it's not whatever they decide. It's not going to be easy. Like the road to recovery from this, unfortunately, it's long. Nothing is coming from this season unless a miracle happens. We're not winning Conference League, and as right now, the way it sounds, we're not even going to have a European spot. That's the way I'm looking at it here. So We need
Aris
Aris to
could
just
win the
literally fail.
cup, man. Aris could win
Yeah.
the cup. They're in the final, essentially. Who do they play? Panathinaikos in the semifinal?
Yeah, Panathinaikos in the semifinals. So
Yeah,
anyway,
man. It's one match of football. If Aris win in the final, I'm taking Panathinaikos being passed over, but like it's a flip of the coin, you know. Aris could win the final and we're out of Europe. That's how dire it could be. Yeah, so
exactly. So that's a situation.
Like
so you have
last
to
year.
just
right. Like last year, we got
Last year
Europa
we're
League
in the
because
Right.
of the, yeah, exactly.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
And we got lucky with it. Anyway.
Yeah. So guys, that's it for
Alrighty.
me. So I'll just leave you with that. It's a long road to recovery. We're always going to be here for you.
Let's wrap it up, and let's wrap it up.
Thank
mate.
Yeah,
you.
let's wrap
Thank
it
you all
up.
for listening, and sorry for the
No
Thanks
worries.
for joining,
Thank you
man.
for joining.
Thank you for participating always, even if you don't agree with me.
All right, boys. It is time to wrap it up. There's no man of the match coaches grade. We lost F's all around, as far as I'm concerned.
I didn't even watch the game. I feel like I said it at the beginning. I didn't even watch the game. I just like the comment you read by the text message of like the team bringing depression. Like it was a beautiful day today. I was just like, I'm not doing this today. I'm not doing this again. I saw the lineup.
I might have
I
to
was
take
like,
that and put it on socials later. Costa using the caption thing for that text message comment. Anyway, guys, unless you have anything else, we're gonna close it up here. Lambro, Costa, anything?
At least Martial wasn't on tonight anyway.
Yeah. Oh,
He's French.
yeah.
Keep
Keep your eye out on socials. Coming very soon. We can say this now officially. Merch. Just keep an eye out. Fun stuff's coming.
Merchandise is coming. Please
It is like we're there. We're there now. It's within sight very shortly. Rollouts will be coming soon. We're really pumped to share that with
literally
all
a
you guys.
cooler. You can buy a cooler for the beach with our
Little spoiler. Costa told
Little
you guys
spoiler.
you aren't ready. There's a lot of work that went into this. We
Yeah,
put a
it's
lot
kind
of
of
work in
insane.
this. Well, yeah, it's I hope you guys like it. So check it out. Anywho, guys, we'll be back. I don't know when I forgot when the next game is. Doesn't matter. We'll be there.
It's a
We'll
weekend.
share the
Sunday.
misery together.
Yeah.
This is Gate 7 International by the fans for the fans, and we will see you all next time.